This woman, Jennifer, has been a client of Dress for Success for the last 10 years, but she's been my friend. That's what's important for 10 years. Since adolescence, when she came to us, she has participated in every single program that we've offered, career development to financial literacy to leadership. Jen is there. She dreamed of becoming an entrepreneur in 2017, and she recently, I am her biggest fan and her biggest buyer, opened her skincare line, J. Innocence. Her ad is in the back of the book. She's had some challenges, but I'm gonna tell you what, there's no one in my life like Jennifer. I just want you to know, Jen, you are a strong, powerful, smart, courageous woman, and I am so very proud of you, always. Please tell a little bit about your story.
Good evening. That was a beautiful song, Majesty. It was perfect for me. First, I would like to thank Joy Gordon for inviting me to speak. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. I would like to thank Kat Connolly, who first greeted me when I walked into the doors of Dress for Success over 10 years ago. I would like to thank Marjorie Hanna to help me to share my speech. I would also like to thank Kai and all of the Dress for Success staff members and donors to make tonight happen. And last but not the least, Janie Berkman and the Adriana Papel team. Thank you so much for this beautiful dress and all the beautiful dresses on our Dress for Success ambassadors. Thank you. As I look out at all of you, I realize that each and every single one of you believes in the mission of Dress for Success. And I hope that you accept my story as a thank you for your generosity. My name is Jennifer Wojtowicz. I was born an American citizen to an American father and a Chinese mother in Taiwan. Growing up over there, it was beautiful. The scenery, amazing. The food, you can't find it anywhere else. However, that would be all the enjoyments that I had. See, my parents had gotten married when they were very young. My mother was adopted, and she was constantly mistreated by her own family. She fought with my father regularly, and she took her frustrations out on all her children. She would beat us with anything in sight, and not understanding what she was doing, which is repeating abuse that she had gone through. My father couldn't keep a job. He couldn't keep a job because job opportunities were scarce in Taiwan. He was depressed, he was hurt, and an introvert. And at his low moments, I would watch him to cut himself. For many years, me and my brothers never knew when we would go home and get beats each day. There was no one for me to turn to outside of home, because outside of home, I had other challenges to deal with. See, throughout my years growing up over there, I was constantly picked on, because over 30 years ago, being born there, people like me were not accepted. People like me, meaning I was the biracial baby, I was the mixed race baby, and at that time of era, it was more of a shame rather than a blessing. I was constantly picked on by my peers, my classmates, my teachers, my adults, pretty much everyone around me. I was a child, but they told me I was ugly. They told me I was fat. They told me I was a disgrace. They told me my family was a disgrace. And they told me that I was unlovable. Around 13 years old, it's when my family migrated back to the United States. And just when I thought it would be a fresh start, and I was very wrong because my parents started fighting again. At 13, it's when I learned my ABCs. At 13, it's when I learned to speak English. At 13, it's actually when I learned how to spell my name. And I was very proud of myself. See, when I came here, when my parents started fighting again, this time, my mother kicked my father out of the house. And my mother didn't work. So by the time I was 16 years old, I became homeless. We couldn't pack anything except for a few clothing before we were going into the system and checked into a shelter. It was quite depressing living from shelters to shelters, let me tell you. There were so many other children in the system just like me. And it was very cold, it was very dirty, it was hard, and you were not around the best of people, and it was very brutal. I still managed to stay in school, and I started working. And during my senior year of high school, I decided to leave. I decided to leave because I wanted a better future. I left because I wanted an education. And I decided to leave because I promised myself I would never go back and I would never be homeless again. So I rented a room. Between high school and work, I was truly exhausted on the go 7 days a week. And I was also very disappointed. I was disappointed because I didn't have any money to go to school, to go to college. And I really wanted to make something out of myself. I was saddened because the reality hit me. When I applied to numerous scholarships, and each and every single one of them rejected me. Each and every single one rejected me because I was always working. I was trying to pay bills with minimum wage jobs, and I didn't have any extracurricular activities on my resume. And I dropped from an A to a B student from being homeless. And deep down, what hurt me the most is that I knew they rejected me because they didn't have faith in me. And from there, I hit another depression. After giving up, one day, my AP Calculus teacher ran to me, and he told me about this wonderful scholarship opportunity that I must apply for. And I told him no. I told him no because I was sick and tired of going through the process just to be rejected over and over again. And rejections doesn't feel good. I applied anyway because he wouldn't take no for an answer. And he always believed in me. And I ended up receiving a full 4 years tuition scholarship from the Seinfeld Foundation program. During my first semester of college, I moved in with one of my best friends and her mother. By winter, without me knowing, my mother had found out where I was living and reached out to them behind my back. And she told them that I was a bad daughter. She told them that I ran away from home. She told them that I stole her money. And she fabricated a whole story about how bad a person I was, and that's how I left. After finishing work on Christmas Eve, my friend's mother called me, and she told me, don't come home. She said, I don't want you to come home today. I don't want you to come home tomorrow, because tomorrow is Christmas, and I don't want you to see my kids on Christmas. I was kicked out, and I had nowhere to go. I didn't even have a toothbrush on me. And I stood there in my work clothes, and I will never forget this because I cried. I cried because it was a lie. I cried because it was a betrayal from my own mother. I cried because I promised myself I would never be homeless again. And there I was with nowhere to go. And I thought my future was ruined again. My store assistant manager and his wife were traveling out of town that weekend. And they were kind enough to offer me to stay while they were gone. I was lucky to have people that moved miracles for me, truly. When I finally went to pick up my stuff, my clothes were already packed outside the door in bags. When I rang the bell, nobody would answer me. I almost flunked out of school that year. Because, believe me, going through something like that, studying for an exam or writing a paper was the last thing on your mind. From there, I self-served until I was able to save up enough money to get my own studio. When I finally got my first studio apartment, I slept on the floor for weeks in a sleeping bag with my clothes next to me, until I was able to furnish my apartment piece by piece. I was still going to school and working, and I was both stressed and depressed. I was on the go 7 days a week, early morning to night, and I was running on my last fuel. The feelings of betrayal, of anger, of depression, of sadness, of fear, of shame, and being overly physically exhausted all the time. After bottling up all these emotions for years, I finally hit a breaking point. At the age of 19 years old, I was very tired from doing everything right, yet everything was so wrong, and I tried to commit suicide. Obviously, it didn't work. The day after my suicide attempt, I was angry at the world. I was depleted from energy, and I lay there for hours because I couldn't move. And all the emotions was running through my head. I was annoyed. I was annoyed because I didn't understand why I wanted to hurt myself. I was confused because I didn't understand why I didn't die. Eventually, I was forced to process my emotions. And I remember I finally said to God, that's it. I can't do it anymore. I couldn't even die and I can't fight anymore. So I lay there, and for the first time, I closed my eyes. In a very long time, there was quietness. Moments later, I heard the dogs bark outside. I heard the birds chirp outside. I looked out the window and I saw trees. Hours later, I gathered up some energy, I got dressed, I ate some food, and I went to school. I looked like a ghost, but I went to class anyway. And no one had ever knew what had just happened, and no one ever did until now. See, it had hit me. Regardless of what had happened to me in the past, regardless of what I had to deal with, the dogs will still bark, the birds will still chirp, and the pigs still won't fly. The world is constant. It will repeat itself. It will keep going. And so I need to keep going. After that, I knew I needed to do something, so I started my therapy sessions. And after 4 long years of battling with myself, battling with my circumstances, going to school, and working, exactly 4 years later, I'm very proud to say that I graduated with a BBA in finance and minor in mathematics from Baruch College. After graduating, I still needed much help. I was only working minimum wage jobs, and it was hard enough for me to struggle and make ends meet. Except this time, I had a peace of mind. When I graduated is when I was introduced to Dress for Success by my therapist. And I was given my first suit by Dress for Success. I never put on a suit before. And the first time wearing it, I felt new. It felt new. And I knew that it represented a new beginning of a chapter in my life and a new beginning of healing from my past. From there, I attended the Dress for Success Going Network places and workforce development programs, where I put my resume together, interviewing skills, built confidence, and most importantly, I got to network with beautiful women who have their own stories as well, just like me. I also participated in the financial literacy program. Who helped me to manage and plan for my future. And next, I participated in excuse me, Capital One, thank you guys. And currently, I'm in the leadership program, where it's about senior woman mentoring Dress for Success ambassadors and clients to put themselves on track each month in regards to their dreams and goals. These Dress for Success programs taught me how to be confident, self-sufficient, and career-oriented. And they have always been my biggest supporter. With their love, their support, their encouragement, and endless assistance. Not only they're my biggest supporter, they're every woman's biggest supporter. Regardless of your age, your culture, your religion, or your backgrounds. They just want you to be the best of you, to reach your full potential. And to me, that's the definition of success. My next step and goal is to elevate my company to a level that is an inspiration to others. It's a company that represents hope and successful enough that I can give back one day as well. I want others to have faith and have hope and not lose hope. I want others to know that their visions and dreams are achievable, even in their darkest moments. Every person has their own story, just like me. And just like this beautiful Adriana Papel dress, there is a sparkle in each one of us. And tonight, we shine together to empower women by supporting the organization that has never once given up on me, to live vibrantly, confidently, and fearlessly. Thank you.
I never miss a beat when I get the call, and I get them often, from Jennifer. Sometimes she wants to talk about the company, sometimes she wants me to look at the marketing strategy, sometimes she brings me product. I can only imagine what her apartment smells like. I also know that Jen, for you, each and every one of you, in your journal, on her page with her ad, if there is a star, we have a huge gift bag for you. There is one winner at every table, and Jen has made over 80 gift baskets that when you leave today, you will take with you. So please, as you check out, make sure you go and bring your journal ad, because there's a winner at every table. I know that to be true. Thank you, Jen. So, listen, I'm standing right, oh my God, I did not know that gift baskets would do this to you.